that I need to do long term to be able to have a successful real estate career and set myself up so I don't have to do this for the rest of my life, I want you to start thinking now, how do I build my business and guide my business around so I've set myself up to be able to retire at some point? Does that sound like a better plan?
Right. Sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, right? So now you got to just say, okay, let's run these numbers backwards. If I can run the numbers backwards, I can tell you exactly what you need to do to be able to set yourself up so that you can stop working when you want to stop working, not stop working when you die. Most realtors don't retire, they die. And so the cool part is if you're younger, like us, right? You're younger like us, we have a couple of years left in us to be able to still do that. The problem is I'm having this conversation with people that are 55 and 60, and they're like, I didn't really start thinking about retirement till now. Well, it'd be great if we started thinking about it more seriously when we were in our 20s, but when you're in your 20s, you don't think about that stuff, right? And then you get in your 30s and you're too busy to think about that stuff. You hit your 40s and things start slowing down and the kids start getting out of the house and you're like, I should really start thinking about the long-term plan. Like, well, that's 20 years too late. So there's an old Chinese proverb that goes like this. When is the best time to plant a tree for shade?
50 years ago.
20 years ago, 50 years ago, right? When is the second best time to plant a tree for shade?
Now.
Today, right? So if you didn't do it, it is what it is, but you can always start today, right? So your timelines all start today. So a lot of times I'll ask people this question, how much money do you need to be able to retire and not have to trade time for money? Now, keep in mind, retirement for me definition is I no longer have to do that. I can still work, I can still do stuff, I can still make stuff, I can still generate income, I can still build companies, I can still start my own Kentucky Fried Chicken like the Colonel did in his 60s and be successful. I can still do that if I want, but I don't have to. So everything you're doing right now should be set up to say, I'm moving towards the point where I don't have to do that. Does that sound like a business plan shift in thinking the way you want to think?
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay, so a lot of times people haven't even really thought of that. So I start telling them that, talking through that, they're going, their mind's blown. They're like, going, shoot, I didn't even think like everything in my business should be set up to say, how do I get out of business? Mm-hmm. I got into business multiple times with no plan to get out. And if you don't have a plan to get out, guess what? You stay stuck in it and or it doesn't have any value when it's time to get out. So a couple of things you can look at that are different within this system that I really like is you're already doing this, right? You can do trade time for money selling houses pretty much anywhere. There's a bunch of great deals out there. There are a bunch of companies that'll do it 100%. There's a bunch of companies that'll do a small fee. There's companies that'll do splits and cap models and all the rest of that stuff. But are there other companies that'll show you how to actually put real money in your pocket long term and help set you up for that long term retirement type of scenario? This is the only company that I've seen that I have the information on. Like they literally have a real viable. Now, keep in mind, a year and a half later in, for me, I'm saying they really do have a good, reasonable, viable way of helping you set yourself up for success long term. So you're saying, hey, Russ, I want to go and trade time for money selling houses somewhere else is pretty much your plan, right? Well, the plan actually should be if you could put more money in your pocket 5 other ways in addition to that, would that make the company even easier to choose? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me show you real quick. How much time do you guys have, by the way? Because I can do this for 4 hours. I can shorten this down quick.
About another hour.
But all right, well, strap on your seatbelt. Here we go. Okay, so let me show you. This is one way you can put more money in your pocket. Okay, within the eXp system, something that I really love, and this is one of my favorite tools, and it doesn't make sense to a lot of people, and they're like, Russ, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal. Do you guys pay a franchise fee right now?
No, not technically.
Really South.
Yeah, we pay another fee that they don't call a franchise fee, but
okay.
That's what it is. You can say yes if you'd like.
The other money taken off the top fee. How much is that?
It's $150 of transactions. It's not terrible. It's supposed to be $250, but if we pay it to our client, it's $150.
Okay, got it. Okay, great. So a lot of people have franchise fees and other things like that. Like I think Evan, you guys came out of KW, right?
Right.
Okay, so out of KW, a lot of these companies like Coldwell Banker, Century 21, Prudential, Berkshire Hathaway, all of those big brands have a 5% or 6% franchise fee. With this company, one of the cool things that I really like is that they have a setup where you literally click a box and you take 5% of the money that you earn in the company and you put it towards yourself for your long-term savings. So you're investing in yourself. Now, a lot of people say, well, that doesn't seem like that big of a deal. Well, I will tell you what, you look at people like my father-in-law, the reason my father-in-law has the wealth that he has is he worked for Ford Motor Company, and every paycheck they allowed him to do investment in the company, and then they matched some of the funds. And he just did that as his savings plan. He did it over 30 years, and the guy has way more money than he needs to retire because they gave him company stocks, and he bought the stock options and so forth and so on. So that was his path to wealth building. In this company, you can actually set up 5%, and you can actually buy stock at 5% off the top. So let's say, for example, you're doing $100,000 a year GCI. Does that sound reasonable, or is that low for you guys? It sounds probably low for you guys, right?
A little.
Last year it was in line, but last year was not a good year, so it's a little low normally.
Okay, so let's say, what would you say? You're aiming at $200,000 a year GCI?
That's not. Was that your aim?
Well, that's my aim, yeah.
Oh.
do I hit it? No, but that's my aim. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, well, if you shoot enough arrows, you'll hit it, right? So here's the thing. Let's say, for example, you guys start knocking it out of the park. You have the support parts and pieces in place. You have the people around you. And when you rub elbows with people making more money, you end up making more money. So it looks like you're starting to rub elbows with different people. And that should help raise you up a little bit, right? I mean, heck, you hang around with me for 5 minutes and I'll get your brain going. We should be aiming for 300. Because once I hit 100, it's kind of like, well, shoot, why not go for 2? Well, shit, if you're going to go for 2, you might as well go for 4, right? I mean, it's not like most people go, well, I want to make 400. And I'm like, if you can do that working less hours than you're working currently, does that sound fun? Well, heck yeah, right? I'm doing the same amount of work and I'm making twice as much money. That's way more fun. So it's not, well, if I don't double my income, I got to double my work. No. You build the right systems. You surround yourself with the right team. You work less and make more, right? So if you guys shift the way your brain thinks and you go, oh, that looks really possible now. Once somebody shows you how to do something, it becomes way easier for you to do it, right? So let's just say, for example, on this, you're aiming at 200K per year. This system right here would automatically set you up where you're saving $10,000 every single year towards your own retirement. Now, here's the cool part. This company does something different than most people don't. They sell that to you, the company stock, they'll sell it to you off each check at a 10% discount. So basically, you get $11,000 worth of stock for 10 grand. You get $10,000 worth of stock for 9 grand, right? So you're setting yourself up every year. So a lot of people say, well, Russ, that's not that big of a deal. Well, in 1 year, it's not. But you take that times 20, right? Now you've got $200,000 saved automatically off the top, and you don't see it, you don't spend it. So it makes it easier for you not to have to actually lose money or not have to spend the money that you should have been saving. It's like a forced savings plan that helps you take your business to the next level. So at the end of 20 years, you stand back and you go, well, dang, I got an extra 200 grand that's invested. Now let's keep in mind, that's if it's just like dollar for dollar, if the stock doesn't go up at all. What if the stock goes up 5% each year? That's not unreasonable for a stock to go up 5% each year. So it goes up 5% the first year, goes up 5% the next year, and 5% the next year, and 5% the next year, and 5% the next year. And when you start looking at these numbers, this adds up, and this ends up closer to $300,000 actually when it's all said and done. So you're putting 200 of your own money away, and over 20 years, it's going to be worth well more than 300. God forbid the stock does what it did in the last 4 years. It went up 50 times in the last 4 years. I don't expect that to happen again. I don't see this $10 stock turning into a $500 stock. I mean, it could happen. It happened with Apple. It happened with a couple of other companies in history. We're not Apple. We're pretty cool, but I don't think we're Apple. Let's say they fail miserably and only goes up 10 times. 10 times 200 is a big number, right? So let's say just looking at it saying, if all things are equal and even, just investing in yourself and just getting the return of normal 5% return, you've got way more money long-term put in your pocket automatically. Just makes it easier for you to set yourself up for retirement. Mm-hmm. Do you know how much money the average American has in their bank account and set up for savings for retirement?
No, how much?
About $6,000. Hold on. Let me say that out loud again, because I heard it and I thought, what the holy hell are people going to do? I mean, This is insane, right? $6,000. So how long can you live on $6,000? I don't know, me, about half a month. Okay? So I'm going to be retired for a whole 15 days, and then I got to go back to Walmart and become a greeter because otherwise I'm not going to eat. And by the way, doing that, I'm going to have to steal food at Walmart while I'm doing it because I can't afford to buy it. Okay? So do you see how something as simple as that sets you up and puts you in a better position to be able to retire long term?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So how many sales are you guys doing a year? Plus or minus, number wise?
50, I don't know.
Mine's usually 30 to 35.
30, 35. What's your average sales price?
My average sales price is around 380 to, I think 380, 385.
Mine's more like 230.
Okay, 230.
I probably know things.
I don't know.
That doesn't make sense. Ours should be able to.
No, I work really hard and sell lower price houses, so.
Okay, and that happens, you know.
I know.
And so there's ways to make more money. The way you can make more money is you either sell more houses or you sell the same amount of houses that are higher price, right? So that's the two ways you can put more money in your pockets. Okay, so for you guys, let me give you a rough scenario. So at $2.8 million or so gross commission income, that would be somewhere in the less than 10 homes for you, Carol, and maybe 11 or so for you, Natalie. You guys would cap in this model. So if you guys are separate and you guys are running separate numbers, separate sides, you would both cap individually. Once you cap, you go to 100%, which is pretty cool. So you're 80-20 until you cap, and then you're at 100%. Once you cap, if you do 20 additional sales, which for you, Carol, would be very doable, because if you're saying you're around 30, you'll cap at probably more like 8. And then if you do 20 more sales, so 28 total, you would become an icon. When you become icon, your $16,000 cap that you have for the year, they give this back to you. So you're an 80-20 split until you cap. You cap at 16,000. You do 20 additional sales at a $250 per transaction cost to you, which you can make the buyer and seller pay, which means you're truly at 100%. And you would be capped.
Of course,
you would be capped, and they would give you your $16,000 back in company stock.
Okay.
So now if you don't cash that out, you got a 3-year vesting period, which is awesome because it forces you to stick with it and save that money. If you don't cash that money out, you're also setting yourselves up for a long-term savings program. Pretty cool setup, right? I don't have the math in front of me. I don't believe. I don't have the math in front of me. Should have had that here. So if you look at this and you times that by 20 years, just that 16,000, here, I'll do the math here quick. 16,000 times 20 is $320,000. So if you go out there, so is there a motivation for you to hit that icon status?
Absolutely.
A lot of people that actually are successful real estate agents will say, hey, Russ, I'm a business person and thinking my brain through it. How in the hell can a company give you all the money back and you're working for $0? Does that make sense? It doesn't until you look at the way this model is set up. Number one, they don't have buildings and all of that stuff. They don't have the signage. They're not putting up billboards. They're not doing the normal, we got our balloon picture and they got a cute little animal and they've got their 3 couples and they're all very, various looks to them. So we make sure we got our diversity look to us, and they do the little balloon and they go up and everybody's like, oh, that's so cute. We know how to sell houses. We don't do that kind of stuff. So they're not spending money on that. What they're saying is, this is a company for real estate agents, built for real estate agents. So if you're the one out there with signs in the yard, talking to people, meeting other real estate agents, you are the billboard. Mm-hmm. So why don't we reinvest this money back in our people? And that makes perfect sense to me. Would you rather them have a billboard on the street that does nothing for you? Or would you rather you be the billboard and they give you your money back and they basically pay you to be the billboard?
Yep.
That's kind of a neat way to do it, right? And when you don't have all the other overhead and expenses and advertising going along with it, you become the face of the company and they'll reinvest back in you. Now, let's say, God forbid, this number goes up 5% per year. You take 16,000 plus 5%, 16,000 plus 5%, plus 5%, plus 5%. This number actually will bump north of 500K easily over the span of 20 years. Very conservative numbers. I don't want to give you BS pie in the sky stuff. If you get a decent financial person, they could run the math on this and say, what if it went up 5% every year? That would be conservative for a stock. If it goes up 10%, 15%, 20%, these numbers just get ridiculous. So now you've got 300 from investing in yourself. You've got another 500 for investing in yourself. Are you getting closer to retirement now?
Getting there.
Yeah, right? Does this sound like a better way to be thinking, how do I leverage this into a long-term success program?
Yeah.
Absolutely, right? So the fourth way that you're going to be able to generate some income for yourselves, number 4, marker's going dead. Got backups, always have spares. Number 4 is while you're doing real estate, do you bump into any real estate agents?
We do.
Every single transaction, right? So in doing that many transactions, you've got the ability to leverage people for money. So if you're starting to say, how do I leverage people for money? Let's look at a couple scenarios here that are fairly simple, right? If you pick up a couple people a year, 2 people a year, times 10 years, you'd have 20 people. You think you could pick up 2 people per year every year for the next 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to be working for the next 20, you'd have 40 people. So let's say, are you seriously thinking working 20 more years, both of you?
I'm not. My husband thinks I am.
I probably am.
Well, I'm a husband of 25 years, and I know what I say doesn't make any sense at all. So, so we typically end up doing whatever my wife thinks. She's great. I love it, but I really don't have that much say. Okay, so let's say 15 years. So this is 30, right? If you pick up each one of these people at 30, they're worth $2,800, up to $2,800 a year each for you. So let me just calculator here. That's $84,000. Okay, and if you're going to have 30 of these, every once in a while, one of those people that you pick up are going to say, hey, I'm going to get somebody that comes along too, because it just happens in the course of doing business. So let's say half of those people pick up one additional person. Those are worth $3,200 per year to you, up to $3,800 per year if they cap. So let's say you've got another 15 people at $3,200. That's $48,000. $132,000 a year by saying, okay, this year I'm going to pick up 2, next year I'm going to pick up 2, the year after that I'm going to pick up 2, every year I'm going to pick up 2 for the next 15. Remember, you're saying maybe probably work till 20. I'm saying let's only do this for 15 years in a row. You just find 2 people that you're working with as you're going along, bring them along for the ride. You're going to generate you'd be able to generate an additional $132,000 per year in passive income. So let me do the math for you guys on that. Divide by 12, that's $11,000. This is worth $11,000 per month in residual income. Now, when you start looking at that, a lot of people are like, well, Russ, it's only like up to $2,800 per person. When you start looking at that kind of stuff, you're like, that's not that big of a deal. But when you start saying, what if I just do that for the next 15 years? If I do that for the next 15 years, holy crap, that really starts adding up. So now you've got trading time for money, selling houses, you're already doing that, putting more money in your pocket, more money in your pocket. This one is the sweet spot. This is where people are getting really excited and why people are losing their mind and why people are EXPing all over people when they talk to them, because they get so excited they wet themselves and everybody's shoes get wet. Because when they run the math out on this stuff, you start going, hold on a second. This is 15 years, Russ. If I've got $11,000 a month coming in passive, am I retired? Do I have to do this? Not really. Does your husband say, gee, Carol, I think I'll let you off the hook now. 15-year mark, you could probably bail. If you're generating 11,000 passive, I might let you stay home.
Oh my gosh.
At which point he gets what we like to call an uppercut, right?
Okay, I have a question. What about, let's say that I recruit somebody who recruits somebody who recruits somebody who recruits somebody, and in the middle of that line, somebody gets out of real estate.
It's fine.
The people below them, do they just shift right back up where it was, or is that a cut now? Right.
They stay where they're at, but you still get paid on them, right? So let's say you've got 3 people in a line here, and these are all your humans here, right? and this guy bails out, this guy stays here, but you still get paid on him.
Okay. So
Okay.
even though the link is not there, it's
They
not
don't,
really.
yeah, they don't shuffle up. You still get paid. They still stay on their level, but yeah, and this does happen. I had this happen to me recently. One of my people that's on my team is like, I just need to go somewhere else, and I just need some more support. And I'm like, you didn't do any of my training programs, didn't show up for anything, didn't participate in your own success, and you think like she's looking for a different magic bullet than the magic bullet she thought I was. So I'm like, bye. So she's gone, but she brought somebody along. That person's still here. We still get paid out. So this goes 7 levels deep. Okay. I like to give people conservative stuff. I'm talking about 2 people for the next 15 years, and half of them get 1. I'm not even talking about level 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This thing can explode like a giant family tree going a million different directions. So I like to tell people they're in my family tree. They're like upline, downline. They're in my family tree. They're somewhere on one of the branches on my family tree. So each one of my people is a branch, and then each one of those branches has branches that they're starting to grow.
So are you seeing that now, Russell? Can you tell us about your business? Are you seeing it get to that?
So let's be realistic. I'll give you real numbers here. So I'm at a little over a year. I started pretty much January last year, actually looking at picking people up. I picked up 14 agents myself. I've had a bunch of distractions and other stuff. It's not been my number one. I haven't been hammered down recruiting guy like I've been in the past, building companies and so forth. So I have 14 people that I've directly brought in the last year, which is way ahead of what most people will ever do in a year. I've got 14. I'm at my first year, 20, like my check this month will be actually $2,450.
Okay.
For just this month. And you might be like, Robust, that's not that big of a deal. I don't know. So how much money do you have to have invested to be able to generate $2,400 a month cash flow without touching the principal? The answer is about $600,000. So if I had $600,000 in the bank and it's paying at a 5% interest rate, I would be able to cash flow around $2,400-$2,500 per month, every month without touching the principal. So what I've done in the last year is basically done the equivalent of saving myself $600,000. So my financial advisor's like, well, you're $2,400. He's like, you got like $500,000 or $600,000 in the bank that doesn't cash flow that, right? So when you start looking at this is almost directly translates into long-term residual passive income. It's like saving money. So these things really add up. So I'm on the slow side on that, but let's just say I do it for the next 5 years, just what I've done, I'll be at over $10,000 if it doesn't grow exponentially, which it will. But I'm saying, let's just say I just only do what I do and everything stays linear, which in this business it doesn't because this tree explodes as it grows out. I'm just saying, just being linear, I'll be at $12,000, $13,000 a month passive, 5 years.
Yeah.
Are we okay?
I'll take that. Sign me up.
So like I'm saying, I want to retire in 10 or 15 years. The path I'm on right now, if I just do what I did last year, I will be 5 years from now. I don't have to trade time for money. Okay. So my goal is to be at 30,000 a month. So, I think mindset for me, once I get to 30, then I'll be saying, okay, now I can relax a little bit. You can call me a princess. I don't know. Call me a princess. I like shoes. I like really expensive shoes. Okay. So somebody's got to pay for the Porsche. Might as well be me. So when you start looking at this long term, you've got one way of putting money in your pocket, another way that sets you up just for savings, another way just setting up, doing what you're already doing. And then this one, you're already doing this anyway, so why not drag a couple people along? So let me ask you, do you think two a year would be easy?
Mm-hmm.
You've already got 4 people you're bringing along.
Right.
You already got a jump start on that. So let's say you go, maybe let's plan on 5 or 6 a year. Can you imagine what these numbers look like at 5 a year? Can you imagine what they look like at 10 a year? Just 1 a month. This is massive game changer stuff. I've given you the very conservative version. Okay. So that's number 4. Number 5 is you've got company stock. Okay, so you got company stock. When you sell your first house, you get some company stock. You could buy company stock. You get company stock when you cap. You get company stock when you hit icon. You get company stock when this guy you bring in closes their first deal. You get company stock, and this one you get company stock. So does any other company give you stock when you're helping them grow and build their company?
Not that we
None
can.
that I'm aware of, right? None that I'm aware of. Okay, and then the sixth way, and this is going to be a good one for you guys if you're building a team, is, are you familiar with KV Core?
Slightly.
Okay, so KV Core is basically CRM, client relationship management system. One of the things that I really dig about KV Core is if I could show you with KV Core how to generate 20 to 30 live human beings that want to talk to you about a house, like a sign call type of scenario, if I could show you how to do 20 or 30 of those with literally like 2-3 clicks, you could do it in about 10 or 15 minutes. Total time takes 10 or 15 minutes and generate 20 to 30 live humans that want to talk about houses per month. Do you think you could utilize that as a lead generation system?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you're looking at 20 to 30 leads per month. So you set that system up. Would that help you guys close more deals? Would that help your people that you're going to bring along close more deals? If you're going to add people to your system and you show them how to do it, do they close more deals? You know what happens when people close more deals? Here, you make more money. You make more money, you make more money, you make more money. And really, this business is about how do you make the most amount of money doing what you're already doing. So if you could add a 20 to 30 leads per month into your system, do you think you can convert some of those?
Yes.
How many of those do you think you can convert per month? Obviously, the first month's going to suck, second month's going to suck, third month. At 8 to 12, these should be converting at about 2%.
I would think so, if they're good leads. Where are they coming from?
These are coming, well, so on this, we use KV Core to do Craigslist ads, and everybody goes, oh, yuck. I'll tell you what, almost nobody's doing it. And because nobody's doing it, people are calling, and it's like dealing with sign calls. How many sign calls close? A percentage of them do, right?
Yeah.
So statistically, actually, people calling a sign back in the day, you know, when people used to call signs, 50% of the people that called a sign bought a house within 6 months. Did you know that used to be the stat for sign calls? Holy crap, right? Yeah, so let's say these are similar to people saying, hey, I want more information about this house, and they see it on there, and then you got to work them through the process. But let's just say you can convert one of them per month. Carol, your average sales price is what?
I think it's in the 300s. I could be telling you something that's totally wrong.
I would think yours is in the 300s.
Let's say at $300,000 average sales price, you're looking at $9,000 commission. Let's just say it's a $7,000 commission because we want to be conservative, right? 7 times 12 is what? $84,000. So you can generate an additional $84,000 just from doing that for yourself if you just close one per month, right? So if everybody on your team closes one per month, you got 4 people on your team. That's 4 times 84. You got $320,000 gross commission income just from doing that one thing. This is an additional way that you need to start thinking, how do I put more money in my pocket? How do I help my team put more money in their pocket? You got to work them, their leads. I would work my sphere of influence first. And then when I get done really working my sphere of influence and I have a little extra time, then I'll start doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Or you can do like I do, and I pay a virtual assistant in the Philippines, and they do the ads every morning. I don't even see them. They pop up, and then the phone rings, and the leads click, and it goes into the KV Core system, and then I have my people following up with it.
Well, and that's kind of what I was wondering about too. You know, a lot of times I just pass my leads off and refer them off and let somebody else work them.
Same here.
Just for time management. So I guess we could use, that's what I was talking to y'all about, utilizing the people underneath us to do that.
Yeah. So when I was saying, do you think you could pick up a couple people per year?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that would help you be able to pick up a couple people?
Sure. Yes.
Hey, if you got extra business, you can pick up other people, right? So the first thing you do is generate extra business, then you pick up other people. So now you're saying, I can do that.
Come with the KV Core, or
So
you're paying
well,
additionally
it
for
helps
that?
generate those leads.
Okay.
Do like
KV Core comes with the system. So you basically have $85 a month. That's a total cost for you to be able to build your business and have all the technology and access to all of these things. It's basically $85 a month total for the technology package.
All right.
So the cool part is,
something about getting leads from somewhere that somebody else was processing for you.
Yeah.
That's just something extra you do.
this is something extra I do, but KV Core comes along with that technology package. And we do this because then we can help start feeding our people, which gives me the ability to pull more people. So a lot of people are like, well, hey, Russ, how do I attract agents? With bait. Right? Same way you attract fish. You start chumming the waters with leads. You're like, I've got too many leads. I need a buyer's agent to help me with leads that I can hand off. Who wants some? A bunch of people put their hand up. Unfortunately, typically they're the ones that need it. So you're going to get them growing, and they're going to start doing business. And then once they start doing business, they're going to be doing really well. And then they're going to say, you know what, Carol, I don't need you anymore. I can do this on my own because I'm doing all the work anyway. Can you imagine that happening?
Actually.
Yeah, it's like today or tomorrow. It happened last week, right? So in this scenario, you say, great, why don't you let me help you build your business?
Yes.
So instead of losing them, you say, go for it. Let me help you do that. They go out there. As long as they stay in eXp, you can still make money off them. In every other system in the world, you teach a real estate agent how to do business, they get froggy and decide to go off and do their own thing. How much money do you make? Zero. On this one, if they stay with the company, you make money off them every year for the rest of their life and the rest of your life. Pretty cool system, right? So in this scenario by itself, you've got the ability to say, okay, we're already doing good. We're already doing great with this. Now you've got 5 more additional ways you put money in your pocket, and you take your business to the next level and set yourself up so 15 years from now, you can say, I'm done. If you screw it up, you get 20. That's why this is different. That's why this appeals to me. That's why when people start really understanding what the leverage of these real numbers are, I've got 500,000, 300,000, 800 grand in my pocket saving and investing in myself and hitting icon. Plus I've got $11,000 a month coming in passive income, just doing this over the next 15, 20 years. That's a game changer. This is me saying, holy crap, now I can use this to retire. That's why I'm doing it.
Cool.
Huh. So questions?
We need to figure out how to structure our pipeline. That's kind of, I think, isn't that what our main question is? Yeah.
How do you structure your pipeline? Meaning?
There's 6 of us, so we need to figure out.
Which you guys are, hey Russ, they're individual agents, but there's 6 of them kind of coming together as a group.
Okay, so so you got a couple things you can do. Who is there? One person who's really in? Is there a I'm in charge, I'm the boss?
No.
Okay, so
One of us? I don't know.
okay, so let's see this. So there's a couple ways you can do it. Would you two consider yourself partners?
No. We're individual agents.
Individual agents. Okay. So what do you do now? Do you get a portion of what she does? Does she get a portion of what you do?
No.
No, we're not on a team at all. We are just coming from the same company. We just
Got
work together. Now, the agents that we're bringing along with us work a lot of our leads, but we are not a team.
Okay.
So we do a lot of referrals with them. Is that?
Okay, so ideally at this point, so you've got a couple of different options here. You've got 2 individuals coming in. You got 2 individuals, and you can build your own. Losing markers left and right here today. You've got 2 individuals that are working side by side. You can literally set them up, and you've got your own team, and she's got her own team, right? And she goes and does her own thing. So you might say, we've got 4 people that are coming along. These 2 people I typically work the most with, and I've been pushing business with. You've been pushing business to those people. Natalie, if you only have 1 person you really can support, maybe you just want to set it up where you just have 1 person under you and the 3 people go under here, right? So you really kind of have to figure out, it's like, have you guys thought about being partners? Would you want to be partners, or just 2 separate agents go in 2 different directions? And you just happen to like each other. You just have to like each other. Okay. Then you want to set it up like that. And then
I want to benefit from her, and she wants to benefit from me. So if we're 2 separate places, then we're not benefiting from each other.
Agreed. So you got a couple of different structures here. One structure would be one goes under the other one, and then you can put the 4 under here. So if you go this way, this one would benefit from everybody. This one would benefit. So both of you would benefit from all 4. But you wouldn't be benefiting from her as much. So you could
I would get more of a benefit from the 4 because I was under Natalie. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So you could say, Carol, if you're the lead.
However, we share that top spot anyways, since we share everything. So we got the first and second spot, if that makes sense. So that's why we do it that way.
Yeah, so you can stack this in, Karol first, Natalie second. Anything Natalie does, Karol, you're going to benefit from. Anything any of those 4 people underneath, both of you will benefit from.
That's what's hard, is trying to decide who's first and second, because we both want to be first.
and rightfully so, right? Now, can each of you build your own tree off of here? Absolutely, you can do that. So Natalie, you might say, well, I've got 3 people I can pull in. Well, they should go directly under you, right? Unless you guys are saying, hey, I want to pool all of these and we're going to work on this together. I advise against it unless you're used to having that type of scenario. That's why I'm saying in this scenario here, do you guys want to work together as a team and pool all revenue share done by either one of you? If you're thinking about doing that and saying that.
We need an actual team though, right? Like
Not-
a true.
Not necessarily. So you can set it up where you have it this scenario and then you have an operating agreement. You know what an operating agreement is? Okay. So you have an operating agreement, and the operating agreement says any revenue share that comes in for either one of these goes into the central pool. So my revenue share gets deposited in a third bank account. My business partners gets deposited in a bank account. So your revenue share here, your revenue share, both go into here. And then anything that goes into there gets split 50-50.
But okay, so that's just what the money coming below us does. But then, like, if she does her own thing with her own listings and buyers, and I do my own thing, that's ours on our own. We're not splitting that.
Correct. So in this scenario, you can have it set up where every dollar that gets made by either party goes in there and gets split, which I don't think is a good idea. I've seen it, but I don't think it's a good idea. Because what's going to happen is, Karol, you're going to go out there and have a great year, kill it, knock it out of the park. Natalie's going to get skunked one year, and you're going to be like, I generated 400 grand in income. I had to split that with her 50-50. She generated 100 income. And we had to split that 50-50. I gave up 200 grand. She gave up 25, and you're going to be punching Natalie in the face.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Right? Or vice versa. Somebody gets sick, and you're like, what the hell, right? So you can have this operating agreement set up only to cover. So we have an LLC set up. Operating agreement says any revenue share paid by eXp goes into a third account, and at the end of every month, within 15 days of the end of the month, the money is dispersed 50-50 to both parties. Any real estate earnings from sales transactions, all those go to you. Any of yours go to you. So you can keep sales separately, revenue share together if you want to build a revenue share team together.
Is that revenue share team only for those 4 agents coming in under us, or for all agents we bring in?
I think all.
All agents you bring in that go in, well, they have to go under you guys.
I gotcha.
So you may not want to do that.
Yeah,
Because this is kind of fair for starting, but it doesn't give anybody a benefit. Over here, someone's going to get a benefit more than the other.
right.
So that kind of sucks to figure out how that would be. But no, you're going to probably bring in more agents, and you don't want to have to split that. You want to do that on your own.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just
So-
thinking that I don't want
Yeah,
that.
so in this scenario, so like say for example, my business partner and I, my business partner is really great at building business and doing marketing and doing front stuff and face stuff with regard to technology. I'm the people person. That's why you don't see him standing here. I'm the people person. You put him in front of people, he scares them. He's like Shrek.
And just to give y'all an idea, Russ has no like financial alignment with this at all. He's not even over the line. He's just helping out. Like,
Okay.
he's
Yeah,
just-
by the way, I'm a completely different monkey and a completely different breed.
that's the kind of people you get in EXP, honestly. Like we've had so many people reach out that have nothing.
No
No
financial.
benefit for
I was
that.
going to ask if he was in the pipeline.
No, he's not. He's just
Not at all. I got zero out of this one. I'm just a nice monkey. There's not a lot of people that understand the structure stuff, which is why people call me on this.
Yeah. So if
So
we
you really have to sit down and have a conversation between the two of you. So I would say, my personal opinion is there's a couple different ways you can do this, but realistically, when you say, hey, I want to be able to get a little bit off of her and she gets a little bit off of me, there's no real way to do that unless you actually team up together and then split revenue share. And even then, Karol might be doing more transactions. She's going to bump into more agents. She might be really good at this picking up people thing. You might not be as great at it, Natalie. And then after a little while, she's going to start getting frustrated because she's had to split stuff and she's done all the work. Yeah. In air quotes, right? So realistically, for the two of you guys, what you probably should do is you should probably just set yourselves up as separate. And then when you sell a house, you get paid. when you add an agent, you get paid on those. You get paid on the people that you bring along, right? And then you get paid on your own separate thing. So you don't have to be partners. I would only partner with somebody I know really well, that have worked really well together. And like my business partner and I, when we have $1 sitting on the floor, he's like, no, you take it. I'm like, no, you take it. He's like, no, you take it. He's wired similar to me like that. He's like, never would want to screw me on anything. I would never want to screw it. So if there's
We are like that, but
there's a debate on $1, I'm like, no, yours, take it, run with it, right? I do something for him, he's like, here, take 50% of this. I'm like, but I only did like 2 hours worth of work. He's like, just take it, right? That's kind of the way we roll, which is great when everybody's got a bunch of money. But when things get tight, that's when those types of things can turn into battles. So we're all happy now when we're making money, but how do you behave when you're not making money? That's what shows you who you really are.
Right.
So those are the times when we see people that aren't really welded together with different types of ideas start blowing themselves apart. So ideally, the safest way to do it is say, you get paid for what you do, you get paid for what you do, you're separate, you can still hang out with each other a lot. You can still move and do stuff together. That's great. But then you still get paid for what you do, which I kind of like.
the third level is supposed to be, what was that? Something Jenny was saying about the third level, actually, that person brings you more benefit than
the second. Yeah, the second level. So yeah, so you've got you here. The first person you bring in is up to $2,800 per year. The next level down is $3,200 per year, up to $3,200 if they cap. So you're motivated to help the people below you, help people below you. So the people under me, I want to help them get people.
You get more off the next
The
stage.
the next 4, if they were under you. Does that make sense? What we were saying is like that one scenario you've got on the left there. If I was at the top and I was benefiting from Natalie, I would not benefit. I would only benefit up to $2,800, but then she would get the benefit of more with those 4 agents under her. Correct?
But wait,
Well,
wouldn't
you
that be
do.
my second level?
So this would be Carol. So Natalie, you'd be Carol's first level. Then the people that go under Natalie would be your second level. So to Carol, these people are worth $3,200 per year up to, and Natalie's worth $2,800 up to $2,800 per year. So these people are worth $2,800 to Natalie. They're worth $3,200 to Carol.
What? How many other? There's 4 other ones coming,
Mhm.
possibly. So I mean, the
But
clearest way
from-
may just be for y'all to split those 2, and then just when you're
Mhm.
starting off with the same amount of.
Well, and
people.
that's just acting like they're not people. They probably are like, hey, we want to
Right,
get
right,
some
right. But
revenue
the,
share.
the idea
help
is,
them.
yeah, the idea is who's like been beneficial to bring you on, like who's helped you kind of like, that's like the eXp model, I guess, is like to be the most fair is you just kind of you ask yourself like, who is most influential in this coming over? And then so if those agents were to say that, I mean, they're probably going to say one of y'all 2, I would assume. It's probably not, I mean,
And I have to
Didn't
say
y'all
Natalie
want-
was given the lead for eXp before I was. So
didn't y'all kind of
Yeah.
bring them or
But I
talk to
feel
them
like
about
she
it?
would be more, I feel like she would recruit agents more than I would recruit agents. Not that I'm not going to, I'm just saying I think she would have that
Right, right.
drive and desire and ability stronger than me.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, for coming on board, like, since she does that, y'all don't want to share it because then y'all have the scenario of she may be doing a lot
Yeah,
of that.
she
and
brings
sharing
10, I
it.
bring
Right,
2,
right.
then I'm benefiting.
So you might not want to do that. But
Right.
what I'm saying is if you wanted to come in separately, and then just if 2 of them wanted to name you, 2 of them wanted to name you, then you're coming in with the same amount of agents under you, and you're kind of both even. Like there's nobody has an advantage.
We can
over
do that
anyone
if
else.
you and I don't care. I mean, I was kind of excited to benefit from you or you to benefit from me. It just seems like that would be really awesome.
Yeah,
We're good agents.
Yeah,
And I mean,
that's
the
just-
other ones is cool, but they're not like
Right,
really
right.
producing much. So,
I'm just trying to think of like the fair.
but there's,
without
you
somebody
know,
like-
one of us would get something and one of us would get nothing.
Right.
And so that kind of sucks. So we may just have to go even.
Trying to figure it. Yeah, it's just a conversation. Yeah,
That's really-
honestly,
that's
this
really-
was like my hardest part about coming on was like because I had 2 guys. I had a buddy of mine from Birmingham, Dusty and them, and then another friend of mine that owned a brokerage down in Boca Raton that was dissolving his company. Come over, and they literally called me like the same week and was like, "Hey, I'm doing this thing at eXp. You should hear about it." And I was like, "Oh no, this is hard. Like, I don't want to piss one of you off. You know, like one of my friends was like, I don't know how to handle this." And that was honestly like the hardest part for me coming on was just telling one of them like, "Hey, look."
You just
This
pick
is-
Gusty because he's in the state.
Well, he was in the state, and it was he was a little more helpful. Like, because he was close, they drove down a couple times, brought Jenny, and it was just, to me, it was just, hey, look, they were a little more influential than, you know, you down in Boca Raton. I couldn't really.
Yeah.
It was
So
helpful.
he just blamed it on me that we picked the other guy.
Right.
I said, Matt didn't know you.
On a Boca Raton, you might have had to go visit.
Well, so, and how would we be set up with y'all?
It would be, well, the way with him has asked, like the way we structured it was me and then Matt, and then everybody comes in like under us would name Matt as the, like if they were to say that we were help them come on and help them, you know, be introduced to eXp, then we would ask that Matt be named, just because it works for our structure, the way we structure, because we share everything. So it gives us the ability to have two.
So if y'all share everything, why didn't y'all do that equal thing?
We did the 2 line because we share the same account for it, like our expense account for Crawford Wheel Screws is the same, so everything goes into there. So we are able to, like for our first line, Matt, anything he closes, we get stuff from our first line because it goes to me and our first line, and then everybody
Oh, it
comes in
helps
under
you
Matt.
get your third line
Yeah,
faster.
and we get our third line faster.
We're
So
splitting
that's-
everything stock.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's
so
why.
even though you're structured like this, it's still set up to
Yeah.
be.
Sorry, Russ, we left you.
What's up?
So here's what they did. So they're sharing everything. So they've got this, and everything they do goes into that 50-50 pool.
Yeah.
What happens is when Matt is at the top, Evan's down here. Everybody goes under Evan, and what happens is when they get a new person in, they basically get $6,000 revenue share off of any capper that comes in for the two of them to split. Instead of just getting one, they're gonna get paid. He's gonna get paid on this level and this level. So anybody gets paid here, they both get paid. He gets paid $2,800 with a new person here, or he gets paid $3,200. He gets paid $2,800 or $6,000 for one person that comes in. So we were kind of talking them through saying, if you're gonna do 50-50, do it this way. And instead of bringing one person in, you put them all under Evan, and then each one of those people that caps is worth $6,000 per year instead of $2,800 or $3,200. They get both. So when you start saying, okay, Russ, so how do you really want to play the game? Let's play the game, right? Let's play the game. Say, how do we make the most money and put the most money in our pocket? All 4 of those people below here would put more money in your pocket, but then you have to have some type of partnership and some type of an arrangement or an agreement to be able to make that make sense. So if both of you want to get paid on those 4 people, you can still stack it this way. You don't have to share the revenue share, but you got to understand Carol's going to get a little bit more money on the people that go under you, and she can start her own wing. And Natalie, you can start your own wing also. So when you're starting out, maybe say Carol goes in the top because she's got more experience and has more connections. Put Natalie below, and then all those 4 people go below Natalie. Then you both get paid off of anything those 4 do, and then you can still build your own teams sideways from there.
And our own team sideways wouldn't. We wouldn't have to share that.
No.
Okay. Well, that's an option.
Yeah.
Because
If
I mean,
you're
I was
comfortable with
truly
that.
imagining like one line, and I'm thinking, oh wow, I'm gonna have like 3 or 4 people under me. Every time I say this, I just think of The Office. It's so hard to have this conversation.
I love it.
I wish there was a different way to say it, but that's all I think of. But yeah, so what would help, Matt? Because we don't know where the others stack, and you can pull that since you're a broker, is to know where they are.
Okay.
But it still sucks because someone will be at the bottom or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, even if someone's at the bottom, you can say, "Hey, look, we're going to help you try to, grow your line," and that's what we all are trying to do is help each other. Just like Russ, getting Russ on the phone, and Russ, we appreciate you doing this, man.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
If they end up being kind of even, which I don't know that they will, I think there will probably be 2. I think Alicia and Allison will probably be higher than Ashley and Laura. But if they were to be all even, then it kind of makes sense. Okay, then y'all all go even. And I really like this.
Yeah, but do you want me to be in the top?
Not necessarily.
Yeah. See, that's what I was
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, do we flip a coin?
Can it change? No, it can't. We can't like change it.
Once you pick, right?
Okay.
So really at this point, you guys are saying doing a group and sharing revenue share, not a good idea unless you're really, really close, really, really tight, and you want to be in business together. It's like,
We were close, but I don't. That would. I mean, that would just. Yeah. If she did 10, I did 2. That would not be fair.
let's be really clear. This is the difference between going on a couple of dates and getting married. And by
Right.
the way, there is no divorce. Okay, so I recommend dating.
Yep.
When
We're
in
good.
doubt, I recommend dating unless you're really sure you want to get married. Okay, so if that's the case, and the choice is you both come in under Matt or up under Evan, each as individuals, and build your own thing, and just split those 4 people 2 and 2, call it even. Say based on their revenue share, based on their production last year, kind of get a balance. Like you get these 2, I get these 2, so it's roughly the same. And then just run with your own teams and hang out with each other because you like each other. It's called dating, right? Or do you want to set it up this way where each of you gets a piece of all 4 of those, and then you can still build your own family tree separately?